How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the stream. This is Reliable Rudy. Just getting a couple things set up here before we get into some technical analysis for Monday's open. I did go ahead and look at majority of the watch list and got a list of tickers to keep on watch for this week of trading, and also some potential cuts in the portfolio as well. But to start off, let me just make sure everything is going good. And it looks like we're good to go. So right here I have the Nasdaq futures up, and keep in mind that stuff in the stock market can change in a single day of trading, and especially with my strategy when I'm trying to take the breaks of momentum switches. If all it would take is a certain volume, we know that stocks go up because more people buy than sell, and they go down because more people sell than buy. That's just the nature of it. So yes, keep that in mind. So right here we have the Nasdaq. Now where's my positive break? This is the first thing I want to know. When's my positive break? We start to go positive right here, right in this mix. Here's your consolidation. This is in a sense is your bull flag, and you have breakout buyers and people buying the previous top. Now, pretty bullish last week and pretty much the month of January, and I would expect continuation now. In here we have we're going to go into a 15-minute chart and describe that in particular, but where this gap up happens. You see how we set a close above this wick? If I just put a line right here, you see how we set a close above that wick? Open price for this candle is big. If you open down, okay, you're expecting to have buyers off this previous high and probably even the previous top wick. And if it goes up here, you got people saying, hey, this looks pretty good for continuation up to at least the next high, and that's pretty much where we go to. So marking out the rest of this trend line right here, as long as we stay on this trend line, I would expect momentum. Now, are we going to trade down here and set a double top? Now, we don't want to see it start wicking right here and then turn red and break this low. That would be a confirmed double top, and also probably would end up breaking this trend line as well. So I would say expect continuation this week, whether it's red tomorrow. Let's go take a look at the setup. So right here I just have, you know, resistance, support, 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 support. This is what's acting as support. This is what's holding up. Now the open of the Nasdaq. This was the close from Friday. Now we opened up down here, so all I did was I marked this gap, and it's not even marked 100% accurate. So that is the complete gap fill. And right here I have the breakout price. So if a price were to get over top of this wick, I'm saying that this is going to be some sort of trend reversal, and you can see, it's probably got some sort of downtrend built in right here. So a nice wedge pattern. So, and then I have this marked for if it gives out these lows right here, okay, it could catch a bounce like somewhere in here to this previous support. So once it gives up this support, I would expect it to act as resistance and then continuation to the downside. Now where's my downside? The next thing that I have is, I'm not 100% sure, this is probably the wick top from, I would say, Wednesday to Thursday, maybe. But I thought we did have a gap fill in here somewhere. And maybe we do. Let's go back to a day chart. Oh yeah, so here's our gap right there. It was a little bit off. So if we go back to a 15-minute chart, if this gives up, we have a gap fill somewhere in here because that's where the gap up is, but it's not correlating really on the chart. That's alright. Sometimes the Nasdaq future is a little bit iffy with that, so I would say expect continuation, whether even if we get traded down to this range, as long as this uptrend holds, we should expect how is it going to act with the high? That's what I want to know. So moving on, we're going to go take a look at oil. Now oil, now here's your cross negative negative. Where do we cross negative negative? Last week, I was talking oil up when we were getting these positive breaks, but you see this double top that comes in. Now, I don't remember the last time I streamed exactly. But, this double top into this was a little bit alarming. And then we gave up support. But we do have some sort of uptrend built in right here. Now it shows it below this uptrend. There's no exact way to mark this uptrend. Now whether even this uptrend is how there's no specific way to judge how this uptrend is. Now, let's say the uptrend's like this, and then you could say, so the way that I'm playing oil is, these wicks are 70 flat. If oil were to even really test 70 flat, I don't want to see it drop below this wick, but if it does, it still could catch a bid. But below this wick, giving up 70, I would say it's probably going to respect this channel for a little bit. Like, even if it does catch a bid, it's going to have some tough resistance at these previous lows that might not be able to recover in the short term, or the short to medium term. Who knows? It's tough to say. Uh, but I've liked all the oil uh, earnings reports that I've looked at. I've thought that they're doing the correct thing as companies are buying back shares, they're increasing their dividends, and so forth. And I think there is definitely some potential out there with oil, but some oil plays don't look the greatest. I have to say that not all of the oil plays look 100% the greatest. But that being said, I want to see oil just hold 70. If it holds 70, let's see it retest this downtrend, and maybe we can talk about oil later on this week. But I would say even on a 15-minute chart right here, okay, it's up a little bit, but can it get this positive break? We'll come back to oil before we end the stream, but I would say if oil starts taking out these tops right here, how is it going to act with the previous low? You can see here's your previous low, gives up support. If it wants to get bullish, okay, how does it act with 75? If we go back to the daily chart, here's your 75. So anybody short oil, if somebody was taking this break negative to short oil, here's your breakout right there. Boom. Now a little bit of profit taking. Now is it going to give up? Now anybody that's short, they're saying, hey, I think oil is going to give this low up. And then they're holding until we get a crossback positive. Are we going to get a crossback positive here soon? I don't know. I don't know. But short term, I would just be careful with the oil plays. Make sure you know what you're dealing with, and know your downside risk as well. Like if oil were to give up 70, what's my downside risk? Well, you have this double bottom support down here at the mid 60s. Okay, is that a bounce position? Well, you have the next low down here at 61, and a pretty decent level of support right there. Now, even this, if I were to pull this all the way over here, I mean that looks pretty good. That looks like it's acting as resistance multiple times, and now it's trying to act as support. Who knows? Maybe we just come tap down here and then we start curling up. I, I don't know. It's tough to say with the oil, but in terms of early next week, I would say you're probably all right if you just, it's tough to say. We will go into individual oil plays later. The next thing that we want to go over is natural gas, and see what the future's looking like right there. I seen that it was up briefly, but I didn't. I mean, nothing's changed. I would expect it to continue being bearish, even if it's green tomorrow. So it looks like it's up a little bit or in the pre-market right now. And where do we have our positive break? On Friday, we were getting very close to going positive, and you can see we had our channel set up right here. Now all I did, connected the tops, boom, just like that. Now I made a parallel line equal with that, with this bottom. That's all I did. And you can see we have a gap up and it's acting with that. Now one thing that I do like about this is that we're actually able to break through this low. So you can see we broke through it a little bit. Okay, now it's acting like it wants to get rejected. Now we got the gap up over top of it, and it's acting as support as it's wicking down to that line. I do like the way that that looks. But all in all, on a day chart, I would say natural gas, it's just a wait. I think you're too late to the party if you're talking about going short natural gas, which we do have that on this watch list. I forget what the ticker is. Starts with a K. But here's your negative break. Boom. Get faked out a little bit. Okay, now you can take the break out of this low. Boom. Just like that. Beautiful, beautiful looking short right here. Now, from the negative break, we have a 50% decrease in price. $2.70. That's a pretty good hit. That's a pretty good hit if you hit that short. And it was a break of 5. Go figure. But now we're kind of just hovering sideways on this. And I want to see this. What I want to see with natural gas is for this on the commodity to. I want it to slope up from here because this would be a nice looking higher low on a commodity. And if it can take out this high and start acting like it wants to get up to this positive area, it's going to have to break this resistance that's coming in at 250. Now 250, it acted as support for a little bit in there, but eventually gave it up. And we never came down to that 225, so you would expect with a break of like that 250 mark that you'd want to see it come down to that next level. Well, there has been a lot of, if we go over to the Boyle chart, there has been a lot of volume. You can see this volume increase in Boyle. This is a 2 times leverage natural gas ETF Boyle, and you can see all this increased volume. Now that does not mean go out and just freaking dump a bunch of money into it because oh it's fallen so much. No, there's definitely reasons, and it's all in of course with supply and demand for natural gas. They probably didn't use as much natural gas this year as they may have thought, and they probably had. And there's probably a lot of production or ramped up production for the expected amount of natural gas usage. I don't know the numbers for it, guys. I'm just tracking the chart right here, and I do think that's interesting that when you look at the Nasdaq and you see a lot of companies out there have caught a bid with an increase in stock price, but natural gas has just been hammered. So I just think that there's going to be use for natural gas, and natural gas isn't going away anytime soon. And it does have an interesting looking channel. So you can see this downward wedge, and you can see the channel on Boyle since existence. It uh, got on top of this just briefly, but this is where the short was. We talked about a break of 5. Oh, break of 5 on natural gas. This is Boyle. This is your negative. I mean, Boyle has never really gone positive yet. So if you were taking a negative break, you're talking up here at the top of the channel, $69. Imagine hitting this short. 92% since September. And that is why we have it on the watch list, and that's why we're tracking it. If it wants to start curling up, who knows? You guys know I talk about goes on a run, sells off, and builds a U shape. That is what I preach. I love taking trades like that where you can catch them on these dips after they've solidified a run. And you can anticipate some sort of profit taking, and that's where the U shape is. Goes on a run, builds a U shape. Now, when it builds that U shape, is it going to set a confirmed higher low? So, I mean, we could be talking about this as a potential play, who knows, maybe 4, 5, 6 months down the road. You just don't know. But natural gas looks like it's going to be a little bit bullish. You know, if it even could be a day trade. We go look at the natural gas futures again, and we go to a 15-minute chart. Where can you punch long on this? Now, realistically, those wicks right there, I mean, you could have just punched along anywhere through this. You got a nice trend line. You can buy this trend line if you wanted to, because, you know, this parallel channel meets in with the top end of my channel. Who knows? This could end up breaking out of this channel. I mean, I don't know. But you are positive. Where's your positive break? Boom, your consolidation. So realistically, an ideal entry would have been anywhere through this. So at any point in time, if it goes below that, you know, your ideal entry right there, they're losing money. And you can expect maybe, who knows, maybe this uptrend gives up. Maybe this doesn't even act as support. But yes. Okay, moving on to the tickers. could go over some crypto, but first one on the list, ACI. Now let's go over to a day chart and see why we like it. When do we go positive, positive here? Here's our positive, positive break. Boom, right here. Goes on a run. Now, what I'm saying right here is that I want to see this gap. Here, I see a huge gap down like this. I'm saying, hey, I can potentially make this for a run up to that gap one day. I don't know if this is going to have the gas to do it, but here's your positive, positive break. We're not too far off of it. I'm looking to buy this price up here. When this actually U-shape, consistently higher lows, boom, 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 boom. I don't want to see this uptrend give out. That would be a no-no. But I do think that ACI should be on watch for a potential trade if this wants to continue being bullish and take out this price. Now, if it were to sell off into the middle right here, 21 flat, 21 flat might be giving it up just a little bit too much, but how's it going to act at 21 flat and 21 and a quarter? How's it going to act with 21.50 if it gaps up? It's gap up, a gap up here right into the downtrend. I want to see it confirm break through this downtrend before I mess with ACI with a bigger size position. I do own this. CHS. I don't know how to pronounce that. But this does have an interesting look. Here's your bull flag. You don't actually break positive till right here. Now, we did actually have an order in for this on Thursday's trading day. It just stayed bullish and never gave us that pullback. We could have entered in with a market order, but 550 probably was the break. 550 is the top of this wick, and now we're sitting right above it. Now, what happens if this trades down, below 550? Does it come down and fill this gap? It's going to be interesting, but I think it's worth keeping on watch for the time being. If we go to a 15-minute chart, you can see ends a little bit bearish, so it's already kind of telling you, hey, potentially pulling back to this previous high right here. Yeah, so 525 maybe potential entry, and I can see a actual uptrend right here. Maybe you just want to take a trade off this uptrend. Depends how you look at it, but CHS on the list. Cause M bearish. We're looking for pullbacks before we even test the waters with this. But if it pulls back anymore, it doesn't look like it's gonna hold up. So this one is just on watch for sure. But here's your previous high. Let's just clear the chart here. Potentially a confirmed higher low, which is one reason we could be interested in it. But a confirmed downtrend, call it a wedge pattern right here. But we are getting ready to go positive, positive. It wanted to right here, but it never could. Now, if it were to get a price up here, call it a 750 break. Now, on a 15-minute chart, if you want to take a long on like a 6 break, that's entirely up to you. But it does not pass the rules yet until this goes positive, positive. And I'm saying 750 break is where that's going to happen. Next on the list, we should look at the cows real quick. Cows looks good. Alright, I mean, it's got a nice uptrend right there. I think that looks good. CrowdStrike is going to be the next one on the list. We did have orders for CrowdStrike right off the gap up. Boom, you see the gap up, but ultimately we like this previous high wick as well. So this is going to be a 1050 to 1005 window. Now you can say the next high, which also is the previous body candle, and you can say this wick high meeting up with this wick high right here. So this buy window goes from 1050 to 105.50, and I think we got the A-OK. We do already have a position in CrowdStrike. I think it's like a 96 entry. I don't know for sure, but there was a lot of green, and I said CrowdStrike looks like a snack. I mean, if you haven't looked in the CrowdStrike, look in the CrowdStrike. This quite the resume, if you ask me. But we did like this downward channel, and we liked it as it was trying to respect that. Is this uptrend anything worth a damn? I have no clue. but just connecting those lows right there with it starting to catch a bid and actually going positive, I am calling this at least one bottom right here. Is it going to go on a run, build a U shape though? That's what I want to see. So I want to see consolidation buys into here, and I want to see good volume. CrowdStrike is on the list. Dell is the next one. Dell. Alright, so here's your uptrend. Here's your longer term uptrend. Whether I'm see, this is the same story. When do you get your positive right here? It's solidifying this bottom when you get that positive. So this is what I'm looking like for with CrowdStrike. Run up to the downtrend, and then how's it going to act? Goes on a run, built a U shape. That's why Dell's on the list. And we did actually confirm go positive. And it's got a nice bull flag look right here. Nice increasing volume. And this volume wasn't even red. It gaps down and sets a lower price, yeah. But from the open price, it was pretty green volume. And we do have a nice gap fill for protection right there. But respecting the downtrend as well. So Dell is on watch. DVAX. DVAX positive break you're going to be talking about. It wanted to on Friday, but Friday is a strange day, so call it breaks at 12. You know, this could be the run, and then build the U shape though. It's tough to say, but we do have pretty nice support that this held at, and an interesting looking chart right here. Look at that downtrend. Since existence, people are talking about, oh, look at all these 2020 IPOs that are beaten down so much. This IPO'd in 2004, and it has not even gotten close to that price again. So that's why I say, be careful with some of the companies that you're investing. But we do like DVAX, as they are a profitable company. They got earnings coming up, but not terrible growth on it either. You can see the quarter-over-quarter growth in revenue, and year-over-year, right in line with last year. Okay, so not as much growth, but definitely much worse companies out there to invest in. Now, can they be more profitable? They're projected less profitability, but still profitable. DVAX on watch. Ford is the next one. Ford is going to be on watch. Why? Goes on a run, builds a U shape. Well, now we had those earnings report. Well, look at this huge volume increase. And all we did, we said it over here. We were thinking about Ford. We said, hey, if it comes back, retest, fills this gap at 13 flat. Well, it's at 1290, but we were saying 13 flat orders at the time. It didn't look half bad. And, it does have a nice uptrend that this could be holding. And we could be talking about breakout over top of this neckline before we know it. So call it a 15 break. And what does that mean for the stock price if it does that? I can pull you up a chart pretty similar with this. It's called Valet. Valet is on the list for a potential cut, but you guys see how it has a similar look. This is where Ford's at right now. 15 break, almost the exact same price. That is what we were looking at with Ford. So keep Ford on the watch list, I would say. Not a half bad look on Ford. It is still holding positive and set a close above 13. So a lot of buyers there at that 13. We can even go into a 15-minute chart and look at this. On the gap down, it never gave you your buy opportunity. Boom. All it would take, open up, refill that gap at 1325. So gap up, refill the gap, and stay bullish as it would have this trend line right here. So gap up, meet in with this trend line, and then we're going to be talking about potential breakout over top of this neckline at 1350. So Ford on the watch. GMBL. Now we did get top wick sell on this. You can see here's your 15-minute chart. We were looking for the positive break. We're buying this consolidation wedge, and we had one fill at 1168. So we had one out on this, but we go over to the daily chart. Goes on a run, builds a U shape. How many of them have I showed you guys like that? But we like the way that this is looking. We are sitting positive. You can see we're above positive on both of our commodities. Now all it takes is to break this downtrend, and this could be off to the races. Now where's your potential outs? One day, maybe this gap fill at 31. So, insinuating almost a 200% increase. Yeah, that is your potential. GMBL. INDO, same story. You know, we're positive down here. I don't know why it keeps making me adjust these. But you're positive, and holding above. You know, it's been acting with this 6 pretty much every day. I want to see it break up 6. Goes on a run, built a U shape. Now, downside risk. We do not want to hold this. You know, we can give it maybe this gap. But we are not trying to hold this back down the 5 flat. Now, if we do get stopped out, we could potentially think about a re-enter if we think that this is legit. Do we have enough evidence here to say, you know, this looks pretty good? Uh, I don't know. It's tough to say because this could be looked at as a downtrend right there. But that could be your catalyst for your bull case scenario. Hey, we're getting ready to confirm break through this downtrend. Now I have this one set. It's tough to say. It's tough to say. This one's an interesting one because it is an oil play. So if oil is bearish, you know, it's going to be tough for this one to find a way to break out. That's INDO. IRWD. IRWD. I mean, look at this wedge pattern right here. Since existence back in 2010, still slightly higher. But if we go over and look at this, how many of them have I showed you where, you know, this does have a head and shoulders look, but goes on a run, builds a U shape. You know, potentially this week, we could be talking about breakout above this 1170. How's it going to act with a downtrend, though? So, they do have earnings coming up, but very close to going positive. Legend is the next one. LGND. You know, we could say LFVN is on that list as well. Got a nice little early signs of a U shape building right here. Here's your confirmed higher low. Are we going to trade back down and channel in this as a range? It's tough to say. They did report earnings. They weren't the greatest, but you know, had the buyers there at the end of the day. And what did we do? We filled this gap. Boom, looks pretty good. Legend. We do have confirmed. Goes on a run, build the U shape. Potentially, as we are positive. We got earnings coming up though. Not a half bad look with Legend. Lumen. Lumen, you know, we have been buying some Lumen. We have seen a couple opportunities in this day to buy some on a 15-minute chart. We did not take any profits. We said, you know, this wicked all the way through all this. We shouldn't have to worry about any like big orders off of this. But Friday was a little bit bloody. Now, is it going to be able to hold this uptrend? That's all I want to know. We had the little bit of a false breakout right there too. We were feeling really good about this position. Potential run, you know, up to this 7 flat from current price, 32%, not bad. MCS. Why is it not on here? MCS, here we are. Just a positive break, goes on a run. Not really a U-shaped look right here, so I want to see it actually confirm break over top of this, but then you have a downtrend right there. This support does act pretty good. Goes on a run, builds a U shape. Now, when you zoom out a little bit, you can see what you're looking at a lot better. So here's your run to the downside. Boom. You see that? Goes on a run, build a U shape, slammed up. There's your downtrend. Now, here's your run, goes on a U shape. We could be talking about breakout price above 25 before you know it. From current price, 50%. Not a bad run right there. Not a half bad look from MCS. Now, next on the list, ABEV. ABEV, we did start a position. We respected this 250. A lot of volume coming into it. We just like this is a value play for us. This chart does not really look the greatest, but I'm okay having a small position in this and then staying true to the chart that's played out in front of me. So I see I have a 225 gap fill and with a 218 gap fill. We're going to respect this as a buying window. And same story. A lot of potential with ABEV. Just one to keep on watch. This one isn't a buy anytime soon. I'm just playing aggressive with it, if I'm being honest. Med. Man, I hate this stock. Stock has faked me out a couple times. Med. Goes on a run, builds a U-shape exactly how you draw it up. Boom. It's above your breakout price and slammed. Where were we taking breaks? We were taking positive breaks on this. If we zoom the chart up a little bit like this, here's your positive break. Boom. Had a couple decent outs at this previous high. But look at this, the red engulfing down. Now we stayed true. We held this position out, and then we didn't cut it at all on this day. Didn't cut it at all on this day, and we end up getting stopped out of it on this day around this 115 break, because this was your confirmed negative break. But now it's starting to flip back and come positive. So maybe the trend line is more so like this. And I still think this has that same potential up to this 171 gap. Yeah, Med, keep it on watch. MO. MO, we like the earnings report. On a day chart, getting a nice looking bull flag right there. Boom. Wick buyers. We're going to be talking about breakout price on this week at that 48. Here's your earnings. Now here's your wick buyers. Is it going to get further into this? This one could be a potential buy for tomorrow. This one is going to be on the watch list for me tomorrow for sure. Merck. Merck, respecting this channel. So, consolidation buys off the previous highs right there is what we're going to be looking for. And we're respecting this 1250. Merck, you're positive. We already have entries on this, but I will gladly buy more if it wants to pull back a little bit for me. Earnings coming up. Keep that in mind. MRVI. Didn't have any profit takes right here. We thought this one looked really good. Tried to fill the gap. We're expecting continuation. Can this uptrend hold? That's all I want to know. We could be seeing potential gap down on this. Yeah, and if we do gap down, previous high, boom, 1450, call it. Looking for buying pressure right there. See, gap down below it, 1450 would need to be what needs to hold during that day. But goes on a run, built a U-shape. So we're looking for a U-shape to start forming right here. We do have a nice uptrend. If this was just a channel though, but I would say this is definitely some sort of uptrend right here. Potential downside, maybe 14 flat again. So, yeah, I don't mind that one. MSOS, this is a weed ETF. Getting ready for that positive break, so we're looking for early entries. We will buy this tomorrow if the price wants to act like it wants to break over top and hold above this 7. So that is going to be one on watch. Neo. Not too happy with Neo. We had a couple outs on Neo. I didn't have any outs on this day, but a couple times here it just didn't look the greatest. But we are holding a decent sized position here still, but getting ready for that for the negative. So here's your negative break. It doesn't really have much of an uptrend. I mean, where else? How else are you gonna draw this uptrend? Somewhere like that? This needs to turn green, and I want to see it hold 1150. So potential cut for tomorrow. Nog. same thing. We thought that this was going to be a potential cut, but we actually had a buying opportunity and it ended bearish. We took a 32 break and we're going to give it to below this wick. We might even respect this low. You know, if it were to give up 28, oil's going to have to be looking really bad, and I'm just going to wait for another opportunity. But pretty good uptrend here with an eye. This dates all the ways back over here. So we want to see it just continue on this uptrend. That's what we want to see. There's your upward channel right there. Okay, moving forward, NRG. NRG, we had early buys for this, trying to sneak in before the dividend, and this is one that definitely panned out for us. Uh, this is a company that we traded way back. It's one of the first companies I actually traded. Uh, so going back to the roots a little bit with this one, but breakouts at 33, we were calling this. We were calling this, and it was resting. We said orders off 33 flat. Orders off 33 flat. I remember it. And boom, it's panning. Now we got paid the dividend and still continuation. I would expect buyers to be in here off this 34 flat. Can we get this gap fill? You know, talking about entries on a 33 break. Boom, get paid the dividend on the way. Not a bad look. We like the valuation of this company, so we are okay holding it. But we are getting ready for some outs. We will take outs at the start of this gap fill. So there's the start of that gap fill. Call it 36 flat. We'll be looking for some outs there. NTCT. Huge gap up, fills the gap, and look at this reaction. Now it's trying to hold this sort of uptrend. Goes on a run. This will be a massive U shape, but look at the channel on this. Yeah, if we're talking about potential outs up here at 41.5, current price, no, not half bad. The reported earnings, I thought their earnings looked pretty good. And I guess there was somebody who did not like that. They cut pretty much their whole position, I would say. Someone did. Someone with a large sell for this day. But the buyer's coming back in off that gap fill, so it's a matter of which way is this going to continue to go. This is slightly negative down here, so we want to see this start catching a bid and get to this positive. Not a terrible look. That's probably later on in the week type of play. PDCT. Is this going to curl back and go positive? Goes on a run, build a U shape. That's what we're looking for. So nothing too alarming there yet. QDEL is coming alive. Now we have played around with this position, but we are holding a nice position. And look at this. This is nice increasing volume right there. Here's your bull flag. Meets the rules of decreasing volume. Now, are we going to have decreasing volume again? You know, potential orders right off of that 88.50. 88.60 you could call it. But, you know, pretty decent look here with QDEL. This tested our buttons for sure. There's your trend line. There's your downtrend. So, uh, you know, it's looking like consistently higher on this commodity. Let's see you get into that overbought. We do have earnings coming up. I've always liked QDEL's earnings, and I like the CEO for QDEL. But that doesn't mean that it's a guaranteed buy. This could easily go against us, you know, and curl down, and we could be talking about filling this gap down here at upper 60s. Who knows? But it does have a decent looking channel. You know, probably better ways that you could draw this channel, but this is the best way I see it. Now to the top end of that channel, I'm sure we have some sort of out up there, but you know, it does have this nice gap fill up here at 160. So up to that gap fill, 82%. I think it's a pretty fundamentally sound company. The merger adds a wrench into it, so make sure you do your due diligence if you're looking at it for a long-term play. But next on the list, let's keep moving through this. We're almost done. RGP resource. So we're looking for pullbacks on this. This could be a potential play, and we will have outs for this gap fill. But that wick is kind of telling me, hey, potential pullback. Here's your previous high. Yeah, wicked in off your previous high. So maybe this entry's gone. Let's go to a 15-minute chart. There's your gap up. It hits that. Retest it quick. Now, if it retested again and acts as support, that would look pretty good to me. If it goes on a run, build a U shape, and we're talking about breakout above 1850. So Rivian's one of those that's look bearish right there on a 15-minute chart, but got very close to that gap fill. So we're definitely going to keep that gap on watch and see how it and we're going to see how this goes. But it does have an uptrend. Boom, there's your uptrend. There's your channel in some sort of sense. But we are getting ready for that positive break. So one to keep on watch. Potential run. You have these lows that's rejecting off of right now, but previous low is up here at 27. So not a bad return if you're able to get that. SLCA. SLCA, look at this nice little curl that it's got going right here. Now, it does have a downtrend, but if it breaks over top of this downtrend, you are sitting positive right now. If this is starting to go green, early breakout of that 1250 might be worth it. So this is good volume and increasing volume. They got earnings coming up, but this is a pretty interesting look right here. And if you look at the recent price, up to these highs, that is a monster return. So definitely one that we are going to keep on watch. TALO. Talio. As a nice uptrend. We're going to be talking about breakouts above this price, more than likely, if it can catch a bid. Now it's been coiling right here. This is coming close to the end. How is it going to respond to this 2042 gap? And then do we respect the uptrend again? I want to see it get up to here though. Early breakout price, probably at a 20 break. If you think there's not a big seller off that gap, it could be. It's tough to say. One to keep on watch. Tilray. We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. I don't even think anyone's here. But very close to going positive. We just want to see this respect this uptrend. If Tilray respects the uptrend, we'll think about it. TSN, they report pre-market, I believe. Yep, pre-market. So definitely one that's probably going to be a cut. If it gets a gap down, it looks a little bit bearish, but if they beat, we're going to be talking about breakouts above this price. I think this is a pretty solid company. I think it's worth keeping them on watch. TTMI. TTMI goes on a run, build a U shape. It has good volume, earnings coming up, positive. TTMI, not terrible. T-Row. We had orders in off this 120. Boom, there's your gap fill. 120.10. Positive, you got the rules. And this could even pull back right there. Start of the gap fill. You might not even get to that. But pretty good look on T-Row right here. VNDA. I'm sure I got a bunch of shit on that if I got fib tools on it. Is this going to turn into a U shape? I just want to see this support hold. If it trades down here, it is getting ready for a positive break. Maybe it wants to break out. Maybe we're talking about break at 8 before that happens. Who knows? But this looks like it has been getting beaten down. Boom. We're going to be talking about potential gaps. Potential run. Huh. Boy. Look at that potential run. Yeah. Definitely one to keep on watch. VTLE. Has a downtrend. It looks like a bent fishing rod. Be careful with it. I would be careful with it. But it is flirting with this positive. And you can see, yeah, just needs to turn green. If this wants to start turning into a U shape, potential play. WBA, getting closer to that positive break. We did take a trade on this off this 325. and we got filled and it closed below it. So you know it happens. This is early entries, and I want to see this take out this high price and go positive. Sneaking in before the dividend on this. WBA goes on a run, builds a U shape. You know, maybe it has to come down to 35 before it builds that U. So just a small position sneaking in before the dividend, but I don't mind it. And the last one on the watch for this week is We. And what a good one to end it off, because this one could be a play tomorrow. If this pulls down to these previous highs and catches a bid and reclaims two, we could be talking about this breaking over top of this, and you know that would be a break of the downtrend. So interesting play here with We, and that is the watch for this week. Not as many as last week, so I'm not surprised with that, with the run that some of these stocks are in. Some of them are just holds, and I think that you missed the entry at this point in time. But keep in mind that I do think that the SQ is potentially a play, and we did hedge a little bit on the SQ, and I'll show you where we took the break. Where's our positive break? Boom. I just wanted a little bit of hedge. As soon as we took out this high on this, like I said, you know, we got to have orders in off 350, 3350. We never got filled on our 3350 order, but we made sure that we had some sort of hedge. And now we're going to be looking to have outs on that hedge up here. We're going to respect that gap fill because we think that the market is good for continuation. So expect a little bit of red, and I want to see the buyers come in. That is what I want to see. We can check up on the NQ before we leave. We'll do all the indexes real quick before we leave. So here's a 15-minute chart. You can see got very close. Now look at that red engulfing right through that support line. Guys, this is what I'm trying to preach right here. Boom. Where does it act? Right where my next line was. I had it drawn up before we did the show. Had it drawn up before we did the show. You know, well, I mean, what can I say? Natural gas, you know, it's looking bullish. I said you can probably take a long on this right now. That's what I said, and here it's starting to go bullish. And by long, you know, you can probably just put your money there, and it will work for you until it goes bearish. And it does not look like we're gonna get that bearish look anytime soon because it looks like this is looking to break out. At least short term, it is. And we'll take a look at oil real quick. And oil, same thing. We said, how is it going to act? Now we are positive. This is early break actually, above these wicks, and this is what we're getting right now. So, you know, maybe oil is on watch for tomorrow. I do not know. But that is my analysis. I'm going to wrap it up there. It doesn't look like we have anyone watching, but keep in mind that you know the markets can switch at any point in time. I'm just sharing my opinion here, guys. So I hope you guys enjoy what you see, and we will see you on